Fox News facing this new legal heat to explain, defend, or perhaps confess to why they aired lies that in many ways led to or softened the ground for an insurrection.
Boy, you know, when you've spent your life screaming at Fox News, then the emails finally come out that say, oh yeah, everything you thought about them is worse than you thought.
Oh, is it a bombshell? Is it shocking? Is it explosive? What? Fox knew the election wasn't stolen, but they said it anyways? That's not shocking.
The evidence has already shown that many knew Trump was lying about the election, but they, quote, endorsed it anyway. And that word comes from Murdoch himself.
Because of this lawsuit, a bunch of Fox News hosts had to release their text messages.
More emails that show the internal Fox News fact-checking department, they have one of those, it is supposed to provide some guardrails, and that it had fact-checked in advance and alerted that some of the claims about this plaintiff, the voting machine company Dominion, were just false. And then, this won't surprise you if you follow the story, Fox News went ahead and aired it anyway. And again, that's not somebody outside the company fact-checking them or the Washington Post or the New York Times. That's their own journalistic or media process.
The most scandalous place in TV news is Fox News. Now, you're probably thinking, Fox News, oh shit. They're still out here smashing in these streets, calling women hags. Fox said Dominion stole the election with these R2-D2 looking janitor cars. And now, Dominion is suing Fox for $1.6 billion, and the lawsuit is airing out Rupert Murdoch's dirty laundry.
Lawyers for Mr. Murdoch are arguing that he shouldn't have to take a stand, among other reasons, saying it would just be an inconvenience, that he's already provided deposition testimony, that he shouldn't have to do this. That's where a fake succession, a fictional story, meets the reality. There's an exchange with Murdoch that shows he himself was worried about all of this from the perspective of Trump's so-called base. Nobody wants Trump as an enemy. 75 million people voted for him. So the Fox anchors go on to endorse Trump's lies. Murdoch knows about it. He never saw evidence of fraud. We had that from earlier filings. He admitted the election was not stolen, which of course is what the whole insurrection was about. And then you have the Fox anchors going out and peddling the lies.
As Tucker Carlson texted Laura Ingraham, Sidney Powell is lying. It's insane. Ingraham responded, Sidney is a complete nut.
Tucker Carlson referred to Donald Trump as a demonic force.
The private mockery also targeted Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani. Sean Hannity wrote Giuliani is acting like an insane person, while Ingraham remarked, such an idiot.
Machines can be hacked. There's no question about that. Their machines can be hacked.
We've got evidence of corruption all across the country in countless districts. The machine ran an algorithm that shaved votes from Trump and awarded them to Biden. They used the machines to trash large batches of votes that should have been awarded to President Trump. And they used a machine to inject and add massive quantities of votes for Mr. Biden. A lot of the machines, particularly by the Dominion company, in which Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi hold interests, along with Mr. Soros has a connection to that as well. They actually have a Chinese software or parts in them.
Powell revealed that one of her sources for her supposed information was someone who got it through experiencing time travel in a semi-conscious state.
Hillary Clinton's campaign said it is supporting recount efforts that are led by Green Party candidate Jill Stein. Now, this is insanity. It's all about trying to undermine a Democratic election and, of course, Donald Trump's decisive victory. Now, of course, they have no actual proof of voter fraud or any wrongdoing. Democrats, they just want to try and block any and all audit of what are now growing examples and, frankly, affidavits of ballot irregularities and outright illegality.
Somehow Donald Trump was not the duly elected president of the United States. This is all a distraction. In closer, particularly contentious races, Democrats, more so than Republicans, seem to have a problem conceding defeat. I love these legal challenges because we have to get to the bottom of all of this and expose fraud where it occurred.
Then you have Tucker Carlson, who is probably the most watched, most influential individual currently backing the MAGA movement.
And they said in court that no reasonable person would believe that Tucker Carlson is stating facts.
He's been asked to testify here, new this week. He wrote those private texts he never knew would get out, which show what he really thought or what he was telling people privately he thought about all this, while he used his power, his platform, his influence to do the opposite on a road to, again, many people who got this kind of information going on to commit crimes.
For 5 years, we have watched the news media treat Donald Trump in a way that no American president has ever been treated. On the big things, on matters of civilizational importance, Trump told the truth bluntly, often when nobody else would. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. So the idea is that Russia somehow got into the software that runs the voting machines and manipulated the results. Is there any evidence that's true? I mean, I'm not saying, like, I'm always open to evidence, but that seems insane to me, and we shouldn't suggest it unless we have actual evidence. At this stage, the fraud that we can confirm does not seem to be enough to alter the election results. We should be honest and tell you that. Of course, that could change. We don't know how many votes were stolen on Tuesday night. We don't know anything about the software that many say was rigged. We don't know. We ought to find out.
Carlson wrote his producer, Alex Pfeiffer. Do the executives understand how much credibility and trust we've lost with our audience? We're playing with fire for real. An alternative like Newsmax could be devastating to us.
Do you understand what he's saying here? He's saying, if I don't say this bullshit, my viewers will leave me. This whole time, we thought Fox News was manipulating its viewers. But it turns out the viewers were manipulating Fox News.
The weird thing is, on the right, they have the confidence of their convictions. What they believe is the worldview, and in some ways, it's why they've aligned themselves with Russia and Putin, which is Western civilization is under attack, and America is weakening itself by being diverse and not being Christian enough.
Primetime lineup is not interested in journalism. It's interested in churning out ratings.
These guys are texting each other all day about how bullshit Fox News is. Oh my God. Do you realize what this means? These people are secretly sane.
But it is about how people, in this case, some very powerful people who lost an election and were trying to stage a coup to steal your vote, how they were able to use Fox to advance their coup.
This is a purposeful strategy to divide the country and gain political power through fear and lies and whatever the fuck else it would take.
The defamation trial against Fox News ended before it even started.
Fox agreed to pay $787 million, roughly half the amount Dominion had been seeking. Dominion's lawyers called the deal a ringing endorsement for truth and democracy.
To stop sowing misinformation and falsehood and lies about the 2020 race.
Here's the change that's going to be made at Fox News. Stop emailing and texting people. It's just going to run like the mafia now.
Right.
When you have something to say, you're going to go outside to the corner where the phone booth used to be, and you're going to whisper it. But they're not going to leave a paper trail. They're not going to leave the evidence that they left, that this is collusion and this is a strategy and this is cynical.
But essentially, the payment, the announcement of the size of the payment, is the apology. And that's what Fox is willing to give here. That's what the Murdochs atop Fox News and its parent company are willing to pay to make, to be able to sidestep themselves the question of any apology, and also to be able to avert Rupert Murdoch and others having to testify in open court, and for more embarrassing testimony or evidence to come forward about how Fox operated in that crucial period after the 2020 elections.
So now that Fox has wiggled its way out of this and paid off Dominion a record-breaking $787.5 million in the settlement, They're not finished because Smartmatic is right behind Dominion. Smartmatic is another voting technology company, and it is suing Fox for $2.7 billion in damages. And their lawyers say they want to go to trial. And what they're asking for pales in comparison to what was paid out to Dominion. And what's worse, these same politicians that supported Trump and helped spread the lie had the audacity to go around and violate our voters' rights by changing a number of laws. And one of them that I find just absolutely ridiculous is that you can't even give an elderly person a bottle of water in the state of Georgia. If they've been standing in a line too long and they're sweating, so what? And by the way, it baffles me that the media outlets have ran this voter fraud in the ground when the popular vote does not even elect the president. So why was it a big deal in the first place? It really doesn't matter who the American people voted for. Ultimately, the Electoral College elected our president.
The Electoral College, America's idiosyncratic method of picking her president. It's been unchanged mostly for centuries. The level below is that the state votes aren't really votes. They're people. After the national election, a state doesn't cast their number of votes, but rather appoints that number of people to vote for president in their capital. And it's all of these people in their respective state capitals who are the electors, and it's their votes that truly decide the president.
When the Founding Fathers were writing the Constitution of the United States over 2 centuries ago, they didn't exactly trust that the American people, or even Congress, could make the right choice for president. So they compromised and set up a system called the Electoral College, where even if a candidate wins the popular vote, they still might not win the presidency. Think Al Gore's loss to George W. Bush in 2000 and Hillary Clinton's to Donald Trump in 2016. The Electoral College currently consists of 538 electors, 1 for each member of Congress plus 3 for the District of Columbia. Each state is assigned a different allotment of votes based on how many people live there. In 48 states and D.C., the candidate winning the popular vote receives all that state's votes, the exceptions being Nebraska and Maine. Those 2 states assign 2 electoral votes to the winner of the state's overall popular vote and 1 to the winner of each congressional district's popular vote. For a candidate to win the presidency, they must secure at least 270 electoral votes, a majority of the 538. This so-called indirect election process has come under a lot of criticism lately, with detractors calling it undemocratic.
National election is really a way each state decides which of the pre-approved groups will do the real voting for president. Anyway, here's where faithless electors come in. These electors are supposed to vote for the official candidate of the party that picked them, but they don't have to.
But they don't have to.
On Dukes. Crypto. Ice. Retro game, let's get it.
Okay, so now it's recording.
Please subscribe, comment, and share. See you next time, Retro Gang.